Hey everybody, welcome to Under the Arch Sports. I'm Eric Hobbs, and today we're going to take a look at Mizzou and their ridiculous game against Kentucky. Before we get into that, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel and find us on Facebook, Instagram, and on Twitter. Guys, you're almost at a loss for words in trying to explain Mizzou football in any capacity this season. The Kentucky game Saturday, just the latest chapter, new creative way that Missouri has found to lose. And yeah, I am going to start with the officiating in this game. Did it directly cause Missouri to lose the football game? No. I think more than anything, it was just terrible. And yeah, a lot of 50-50 things went against Missouri. Added up, I guess, yeah, there's going to be people who are convinced it cost Missouri the game, and none of the calls went Missouri's way. So it's hard to argue against. So first, you have the skirmish on the Kentucky sideline, and I don't know how you look at that. You don't review anything. You have a conversation, don't look at any review, and you penalize one guy. I don't understand how that's all you do. I would have given every single player on both teams their first unsportsmanlike penalty, because the way it works, if you get two unsportsmanlikes, and that second one means you're automatically ejected from the game. So I would have given everybody one. That way everybody knew, all right, they're not playing around, better straighten up, all that. I think that would have put a stop to it, and both sides, all right, fine. It's not like either side was that much more egregious. If a side was, whose sideline was it on? On Kentucky's sideline. I mean, come on. That was just garbage. Now, I will say that the targeting call, probably that was the correct call. Some Missouri fans wouldn't like that, but I thought that was the correct call. The fumble Chris Rodriguez had, I think at the end of the day, it was probably the right call, but here's the deal. You hear the way I phrase it. I think and probably, after seeing all this replay, right? If that means that the call on the field should have stood. They looked at that for a long time. There needs to be a cap on how long they get. They need to have 90 seconds, 2 minutes or something, and that's it. I think instead of, all right, is there anything definitive to overturn the ruling on the field? That referee was in there just looking as long as he possibly could, trying to figure out if the ground caused that fumble or not. And that's not his job. So I think in that instance, that's a case of your white hat doing a poor job in terms of what his responsibility is, because it was not definitive after 5 minutes of looking at replays, in my opinion. So I think that was a poor job of officiating, even if the correct call is probably that the ground caused the fumble. Now we get to the most ridiculous too. The 3rd and 1 at the 25-yard line that Missouri stuffed for no gain. The side judge on the far side of the field, he was spotted correctly. And then for whatever reason, he ran in to get the ball and mark it, and in doing so, he moved a full yard. He moved everything Kentucky needed to get, and even after he did that, he was right at the first down marker. I don't understand how he doesn't call time and say, you know what, I think we need to measure this. He barely got there and was immediately fingering this way. Hey, we got a first down. The only thing that makes sense in any universe is that he saw the other side judge coming in at the 24-yard line, and he moved to adjust to where he was. But that doesn't even make sense to me, because the play was on his side of the field. That one is truly just beyond logic, inexplicable, horrible officiating. Yes, Eli Drinkwitz should have challenged that. That should have been reviewed by the replay booth if Drink didn't challenge it. Either way, it shouldn't have come to that. But that's just Terrible game management by everybody involved on that one. And then we get to the botched punt. And Drinkwitz said it perfectly. That Kentucky got rewarded for making a huge mistake. They did. You could argue that their punter got away with making a second mistake on that play. He, running back to get that ball, probably should have just kicked the ball out of the end zone and taken a safety, right? Because then Kentucky still has a 2-point lead and it's a free kick. Missouri, with their ridiculous offense, has to go essentially the length of the field. So Kentucky's still in great shape there. The rule is that because the ball got snapped straight back and didn't bounce sideways or anything, the punter was still inside the tackle box, and what they ruled that once he had picked the ball up, they said he had established himself as a punter again. There's two things here. One, once the ball has hit the ground in what is clearly an errant something, a dropped snap or just a snap 10 feet over the punter's head, anything like that, it should be live and the punter should be fair game. If he gets a punt off, fine, fair enough. You look at teams doing rugby style punting. They run outside the tackle box to the left or right side if he's left or right footed. That's fair game. He's outside the tackle box. He is fair game to get blown up. But on this play, he's protected because it's inside the tackle box. That's ridiculous. And they said that he picked up the ball and reestablished himself as a punter, as a kicker. That's a subjective thing that in this case was just ridiculous. What is Will Norris supposed to do? He's seeing him running back for the ball. I mean, yeah, okay, maybe take one hand and try and touch the ball, and so he can say, yeah, I was just trying to block the ball. I don't know. It's just awful all the way around. What needs to happen, it touches the ground, it's alive, and that tackle box needs to extend, all right, 5 yards to either side of the ball, and then 20 yards back on a punt. And that's it. I think that fixes the issue and takes at least some of the subjectivity here out of the officials' hands. Now, all of that is to say that Missouri had every opportunity to win this football game, and if they could have had more than 232 yards of offense, they probably would have won. If they would have had so much as 100 yards rushing, they probably would have won. If they would have gone better than 2 out of 13 on third downs, they probably would have won. If they could do anything with their offensive line, they probably would have won. If they would have anticipated Kentucky's desire to take Dominic Lovett out of the game and had him get any receptions, they probably would have won the football game. It was just terrible execution by the offense because let's face it, that's all they can do. And I think it was terrible by Drinkwitz not making adjustments. Against South Carolina a week ago, it looked like a new offense with new schemes, new plays, new players. And that was all gone. It was back to the same old just nonsense. And that's really discouraging. It appeared last week that Drinkwitz had said, all right, I know what I have with my offense. We're going to do quick hitters, get rid of the slow developing plays so that the offensive line just doesn't have time to get blown up. We're going to force the ball, Dominic Lovett, and it was just all gone. Part of this is because EJ Ndoma-Ogar got hurt and Mitchell Walters forced back in at right guard. If that's the case, Missouri will not win another football game aside from New Mexico State. Let's just face it. Because Mitchell Walters can't play, and he is the weakest link on a terrible offensive line. We saw that after the Auburn game, and Zeke Powell went down. It's all the same stuff. You can't really yell at the defense. I haven't talked about them because they were that far from perfect. That kind of performance should win you football games. But because Missouri's defense was not perfect, they lost. And that's not fair to the defense. So what else can you say? Is that they were dominant. That first drive, they gave up a touchdown. Okay. They came back and gave up nothing the rest of the first half. They were great. They had at least 6 sacks on Will Levis. The running game, Chris Rodriguez is awesome, and they kept him mostly in check. 250 yards for Kentucky offensively. You can't ask for more than that out of the Missouri defense. Yet Missouri has to ask more than that because the offense is that bad. What are you going to do? The season's almost over, and then it's time to hit the transfer portal for all the offensive linemen you can get. If Sam Horton isn't ready to play over this performance from Brady Cook, I sure hope it's just because he's keeping him safe and avoiding putting him in front of this offensive line. That's the only thing. That's all I've got for this video. Mizzou finding creative ways to lose again. We'll see what happens next week, guys. Thanks for checking out this video. See y'all next time.